Hi everybody, welcome back to the How To series presented by Route 66 RVs. I'm Kyle. Today, let's talk about some of our propane appliances. Alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and talk about which of our appliances have propane capabilities. The first one's the obvious one. We have our range and we have our oven. That's pretty straightforward. A lot of these might have a piezo sparker, some might be manual lit. On this particular one, let's take a look. So we have a sparker right here. I want to go ahead, go to light, and give it a spark. Now we have the tanks off right now, but that's all you're going to do. For the oven, about 3/4 the way back, right under the center, is the pilot lamp, right under here. So just go ahead, give it a spark as you're holding the pilot in, and it'll be able to start. Next thing I want to show you is I want to talk about the fridge. Now this fridge is what we call an auto switchover fridge. It has the capability to go to propane at any time. But the most notable one is if we lose power. Say a storm rolls through or we get unplugged. If we lose power in any capacity, it will automatically recognize it and go to propane. If you don't want it to go to propane going down the road, make sure to go ahead and turn your fridge off before you leave, and that way you're not wasting propane and you don't need to. One more quick thing before we head on outside is I want to talk about the inside of our fridge. Now a lot of people haven't known this for a long time, but now they're starting to put stickers on them. These clips inside here are actually thermostats. Higher we slide it, colder it gets. Lower we slide it, warmer it gets. That goes for the same for some of the older models that might have the little rusty clip over here. That's the same concept. That's also a thermostat. So just remember, higher, colder, lower, warmer. Okay guys, let's head on outside and take a look at our water heater. Alright, we're out here on the outside. We're going to go ahead and talk about our water heater. This particular model is a Suburban 6-gallon quick recovery unit. Now the one thing I really want to point out to you is on these newer models, they have an actual master switch for the element. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. It's going to be in the lower left-hand corner. And once you get water flowing to the unit, you want to make sure water is flowing first, then go ahead and flip that to on. The reason you want to make sure water is going to the unit is because if that element is on and we have an empty tank, it can take less than a minute for that element to burn up. Nothing to worry about, but just something to keep in mind. So make sure your water's set up first, then go inside on the inside, hit that DSI switch, which stands for direct spark ignition. It'll ignite the tank for you, you'll be ready to go. The other alternative is if you have a manual light tank, which we will do a series later on to cover, but just to tell you how it's gonna go, will be a red button, you'll take the switch, you'll hold it, light it with a traditional lighter, and then you're off to the races. This is what you're going to find mostly out there in most of the new units. It's very simple, very easy, and very effective. Alright, so another appliance that runs off of propane, of course, is our furnace. Now what I really just want to tell you today is be mindful. They do get a little hot, so if you're tailgating or you're walking a little close, just be careful. The exhaust down here can get a little hot. Now, normally you would see mud dauber screens on here, especially in this part of the country. If you want to know how to put mud dauber screens on, go ahead and check out episode 2 of this series and we'll show you all about it. So our next stop is going to be the tanks in the front. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright, last but not least, we're up here at the tongue with our tanks. First thing we want to do is we'll go ahead and take off our cover. Now these stay on just fine, so don't worry about them flying off, but if you want to, go ahead. You can put bungee cords on the tabs right here. So, if that's something you want to do, feel free to do that. Now that we have our tanks accessed, these are 20-pound tanks. You have valves on both tanks. This is an auto switchover reg. Now, if we run one tank at a time, we're going to at least know we're 50% done with our propane. That is very useful during fall and winter, so you do not have to spend a cold night in here. I've done it a few times in my life. It's not the funnest thing in the world, so if you run one at a time, at least you know you're 50% done. Come out here, turn the tanks on when your furnace doesn't kick on. That's perfectly fine. Now, if it's summertime, little different ball game. Worst case scenario, if you run out of propane, you're just not cooking and you're just not taking a hot shower. So a lot of people will go ahead, turn on the second tank, and then they'll go and let it pull from the first one first, Then finish off and pull from the second until you're completely gone. That's a little more common during summer, fall and winter. Again, one tank at a time, and just fine. All right, well, I still have you here today. Let's go ahead and talk about removal of the tanks. So this would be for filling them. First thing we want to do is we want to remove this wing nut. Then after that, we're going to take our regulator, we're going to move it over to the side, and then we're going to remove our cross member here. Now at that point, the cross member will come off our rod, and then make sure all of our tanks are turned off nice and slow, and then we can remove the pigtails and remove the tanks to be filled. Well guys, that's just about going to do it for today. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to How To presented by Route 66 RVs. I'm Kyle. We'll catch you next time.